What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Today on the table in front of us is the damned Designs Oni. This little front flipper landed in my hands thanks to the pass-around, the Apex pass-around group, of which I am part of. And I am one of the first people to get a chance to get a look at this. And that is very cool. But before we do this, you may notice a second sticker up here on the table. I wanted to take a second and thank JB over at BigRedEDC. He has been a massive supporter of my little channel since it got started. In fact, he's been a massive supporter of both myself and Women Carry Knives. He's just a really nice guy who runs a very cool channel. On Saturday nights, he's got something called Saturday Knife Live, which is one of my favorite lives. I have a few that I watch. That's one of them. But more than that, he's got good knives, an interesting take on things, and again, he's just a super cool dude. So if you have not checked out BigRedEDC, and I know a lot of you have already seen his channel, it's bigger than mine. He's got a good following already, but for those of you that haven't, go on over there and check it out. It will be totally worth your time, I promise. So now, let's take a look at this Damn Designs knife. Now, the Oni, excuse me, is S35VN. It is carbon fiber. It is a liner lock. It is a little tiny knife. How tiny? Well, here's the comparison. Our old friend, Model 1. As you can see, yeah, it's a little tiny knife. Well, what does that mean for me? Well, okay. It's a little small for me. It is a 2-finger knife. Now, mind you, when I lock those 2 fingers in, it's pretty comfortable. And I think that the Tanto blade is beautiful. The front flip works with this large roll right here, and I, after a little practice, can get it pretty much every time. Now, there is a frame lock version of this. In fact, Women Carry Knives has reviewed that one. With my big hands, I tend to get my fingers onto the frame lock, and that makes front flipping it even harder than it should be. However, on this liner lock model, once I figured it out, and there is a little bit of a learning curve here, because as you can see, there's a lot of jimped area up here for the front flip. Originally, I was starting too high, which works, but it actually hurts a little bit because you're pushing down. But I realized that if you start lower, it just pops every time. This is a great knife. Now, Adrian over at Damn Designs got his start making things like fidget spinners and knucks. He's been in the EDC community for quite some time. Recently, he shifted gears and has been designing knives. And he's designed knives like the Wraith, of which the Apex Pass-Around group had all the various models. And in fact, I'll be getting one of my own right around Blade Show West. And also a new knife called the Yokai, which I will also be getting one right around Blade Show West. Because I love Adrian's designs. This is actually no different. For a little tiny front flipper, there is a lot of thought that went into this, and it shows. Now, I think Women Carry Knives was able to actually use her fingernail to flick this blade. I can't quite get my finger under that, but if you had smaller hands, I think you could even middle finger flick this thing open. Oh, and then I did it. That's the way it goes sometimes. The magic trick is to not look at the knife while you're trying to flick it open. But that's what I'm talking about. This is a tiny knife. The fact that I can get my hands on this thing in such a way that I can middle finger flick it, I can front flip it. It's well thought out. It's comfortable. The milling on the carbon fiber allows it to sit into your hand in a way that is really very nice. I can get my thumb into this jimped area right here. I haven't done a lot with it other than carry it a little bit and cut some things gently because this is a prototype and it is going on to somebody else next. But for me, if I was going to carry a little pocket chunker, and that's actually a nod to another friend of mine out there in YouTube land, of a knife, I would carry something like this. I've really enjoyed having it with me. It is a great sort of fifth pocket backup knife. It has a really well thought out pocket clip. But I don't pocket clip this knife because if I do that, my pockets are so big and so kind of deep, this thing ends up just riding at the very top of the pocket. And I've actually noticed that when I'm reaching in for change and other things, it tends to work its way partway out of the pocket. So I keep it in my fifth pocket or I just drop it into my pocket in general. It is a beautiful, I'm sorry, I keep catching it. It is a beautiful design. It really is. like I said, oh, I missed it there. Once you get used to where the flip action is on this thing, it becomes much easier. And of course, some people don't like knives that require a little bit of practice. I don't mind. I think that any time a designer puts effort enough into a knife that it's not just a mindless opener, I'm okay with that as long as it works. And this one does. It is very attractive. Now on the table, I'm actually going to go ahead and grab, excuse my arm, the frame lock model. This is the frame lock model that Women Carry Knives reviewed. It's beautiful. It's titanium. It's got these wonderful blue anode accents in the hardware. It's got these great barrel spacers. It's black, which of course is totally my thing. But I'll tell you, in hand, if you've got bigger hands but you want a small knife like this, the carbon fiber model is more comfortable for me. This is more my style, no question. But from a comfort perspective, for me, and I got big old meat hooks, the carbon fiber model is the way to go. There will be many colors. I think these are going to be, I think this one's going to be about $100. This one's going to be about $80. For S35VN, for this kind of materials, you cannot go wrong. So what do you want with a tiny knife? Well, this is about as non-threatening as a knife is going to get. It really is. It's attractive. It's fun. It is entertaining to play with. The blade is big enough to be very useful. You can push cut with it because of the wonderful Tanto design. You can scrape with it. You can get right up and use either this edge right here or the actual tip for draw cuts, but you can draw cut that way. It's marvelous for opening packages because of this nice sharp Tanto. I think Adrian has done a stellar job here. I love the black barrel spacers on this. It has a lanyard hole, and if you lanyard, and I don't, but if you did, you could add a really nice lanyard that would give this thing the extra couple of fingers of grip that you might want to make it feel a little more stable in hand. The pocket clip presents 0 hot spots, and on a tiny knife like this, that is saying something. But in hand, I don't even notice it. All in all, this is a spectacularly good tiny knife design. But it is a tiny knife. Know what you're getting. Yeah, you know, that matters. This would not be my primary EDC because of its size. But as a backup knife, as a pocket chunker, as it were, as a knife to drop in the pocket and use as a secondary knife, this is one heck of a choice. So I guess that's about it. These are the Designs Oni. They are a mini knife. They are thoughtfully designed, well manufactured, using excellent materials. If you're looking for a small knife, when these hit the market, I think you should give them a serious look. I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. I've played with this thing now for a little over a week, and I have sort of fallen for it. It's adorable, but also really useful. So that's it for these. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you haven't had the opportunity yet, please check out BigRedEDC's channel. If you haven't subscribed to mine yet, please do so. I'd love to have you here on a regular basis. If you have any questions about these knives or, of course, any of the knives you've seen on the channel, please ask down in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.